these folks excited to, tomorrow at 2 go to a Palestine.
I'd like you all to go back and listen to that video and then come back here and we're going to have a conversation, especially if you are an immigrant or a first or second or third generation born after immigration, or if you're just a settler. And if you happen to stumble upon this video and you are an Indigenous person of Turtle Island and you're getting these kinds of questions from settlers or recent immigrant settlers, please send them my way. I have no problem spending my labor because it is my responsibility to do so. It irks me how the situation in Falastine has really exposed the hypocrisy within our communities. And specifically, I'm talking about the racialized communities, those of us who are first, second, third generation born immigrants, but even the long-standing, especially racialized immigrants that have been stolen people on stolen land. It irks me that you can say free Falastine, understanding that it would mean the dissolution of is not real, but still making excuses to willfully avoid understanding what land back means, but also actively engaging in dismantling a system that refuses to honor treaties that shouldn't have had to be put in place in the first place. We should have just given the land back. We should have just never taken the land, but we are active settlers. We are the is-noties in this case. Whether that makes you feel good about it or bad, that is your problem. That is not on the Indigenous people whom you are actively settling on their land to explain to you why what you're doing is bad. We sound like is-noties sound when they say but October 7th. I'm going to give you a second to catch your breath because I'm sure I knocked the wind out of you with that one. And I do not care how you ended up a settler on this land. I do not care what your story is, what the circumstances in, or what colonial effect happened on our stolen lands to force us to be stolen people on stolen land, serving an empire to continue the oppression of Indigenous people and continue the act of stealing land. Your ignorance is no longer an acceptable excuse because it's willful. I am not sorry that you didn't do your homework and you're embarrassed right now. You deserve to feel embarrassed. As Jeanine Motori said, you should be embarrassed. You should feel shame. And now is the point where you decide whether you are a narcissist who serves empire, or a descendant of our ancestors who are supposed to be doing the right thing. Because you can't both be the oppressor and the victim. And when you get here, mark my words, you are not the victim. And it doesn't matter how we got here. Doesn't matter if we chose it. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter how many generations. If you are not Indigenous to Turtle Island, you're an occupier. You are occupying stolen land, and you are oppressing people. At the end of the day, you can choose what you do with that. You can choose whether your ancestors or your God or whatever it is that you hold dear to you looks down upon you and sees you continuing the sins of your oppressors, or whether they see you as a vessel for change. And if you are acting out of fear and out of self-preservation, and you think that serving the oppressor and empire, who are the vast minority, by the way, is going to be to your advantage, not only is your selfishness showing, but also it's going to bite you in the ass. I do not sugarcoat things. I do not tone police myself, nor do I take kindly to tone policing. So if you don't like what I have to say, it isn't that I am hurting your feelings. It's that you are lying to yourself and you're used to lying to yourself. We like to paint things as a good guy and a bad guy, and if that is the case, then you are 100% bad guys. And if you can understand what a free Falastine means and scream it from the rooftops, then what does it say about you when you refuse to learn about the calls to action or refuse to fight tooth and nail for land back on a land that you are actively occupying and stealing? Stop expecting civility and labor from Indigenous people. You're not owed it and you don't deserve it. Sit in that discomfort. Let it marinate. Maybe you'll grow up. And on this day, if you did anything without thinking and reflecting on the bodies that were sacrificed for you to walk on the grounds of a stolen empire, then you are no different than the colonizer who stole your land. And I've said it before and I will say it again, especially to the new immigrants in the room. What you witness unmelanated colonizers and settlers tell you about Indigenous people is the same thing they say about your mother behind closed doors back at home. Those same unmelanated settlers say the same thing about your mother back home in the motherland. Do you feel the discomfort yet?